The scent of stale coffee and burnt toast clung to the air. It was a smell Elena knew all too well. It was the smell of her life. She moved through the crowded diner like a ghost, her feet aching in her worn-out shoes. Each day was a repeat of the last, refilling coffee cups and wiping away sticky messes left by strangers. Her hands were raw, her smile was tired, but she held it in place. It was her armor in this relentless world. She had dreams, big dreams that soared far beyond the greasy walls of this place. They were fragile things, whispered only to herself in the quiet of the night. Elena imagined a life of purpose, a sleek office, the city lights twinkling below her window. She pictured wearing a sharp suit, her voice confident and clear in a boardroom. This vision was a secret garden she tended to in her heart. It was a place of impossible beauty, a stark contrast to the harsh reality of her present. But, dreams cost money, and money was a river she could never seem to cross. So she worked. She worked until her body screamed in protest. Her apron felt like a chain, tying her to this fate she so desperately wanted to escape. The constant noise of the diner was a dull roar in her ears. Clattering plates, loud conversations, the sharp ring of the order bell. It was a symphony of her stagnation. She saw the faces of the customers, some kind, some indifferent, some cruel. She would go home late, her body exhausted, but her mind would come alive. She would read until the words blurred on the page. She was planting seeds for a future no one else could see. The weight of her dream was heavy. It was a beautiful, painful burden. But it was the one thing that kept her moving forward, one tired step at a time. Mr. Grayson walked into the diner like a storm cloud. His presence sucked the warmth from the room. His eyes, small and cold, scanned the room with disdain. They always found their way to Elena. He seemed to take a special, cruel pleasure in tormenting her. Maybe it was her beauty that he resented, or the quiet dignity she carried.
"Grayson, Elena!" his voice cutting through the diner's hum. Every head turned. The air grew thick with tension.
She felt 100 pairs of eyes on her as she approached his table, her heart pounding against her ribs. She kept her expression neutral, a mask she had perfected.
"Elena, yes, Mr. Grayson?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. He sneered, pointing a sausage-like finger at a clean spot on the table.
"Grayson, do you see this? Filth. This entire place is filthy, and it's your fault." The accusation was baseless, a deliberate act of humiliation.
She wanted to scream, but she needed this job. The words caught in her throat.
"Elena, I'll clean it again, sir," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Her compliance only seemed to fuel his rage. He wanted to see her break.
"Grayson, no. You won't clean it again. You won't do anything here ever again. You're fired. Fired. In front of everyone."
He had finally shattered her composure. He watched, satisfied, as the first tear escaped. The bell above the diner door mocked her. Then, the rain started. As if the sky itself was weeping for her. She walked without direction at first, her mind a numb fog of shock and shame. The city lights blurred into long, distorted streaks through her tear-filled eyes. The scene played over and over again. Mr. Grayson's cruel smirk. The finality of his words. The cold seeped into her bones. She was invisible to them, just a sad shape moving through the night. It was the exhaustion of a spirit that had been beaten down one too many times. The click of the lock sounded like a gunshot. She slid down to the floor. The dam she had built for so long had finally burst. The textbooks on her small desk seemed to mock her. The weight of her reality came crashing down on her. She hugged her knees to her chest, trying to make herself smaller. There was only the sound of the rain against the window pane, and the echo of her own heartbreak in the empty room. Hours passed. A profound sense of hopelessness settled over her. It felt like the end. This was her lowest point, the absolute bottom. She didn't know it yet, but from this place of total darkness, the faintest glimmer of a new dawn was about to appear. The night bled into a gray, listless morning. Elena had not slept. She decided to go for a walk. No destination, just a need to move. A commotion nearby broke her reverie. An elderly man, walking with a cane, had stumbled. A few people walked past. Without a second thought, she rose from the bench and hurried over to him.
Are you all right, sir? She knelt beside him. She offered him her hand, providing a steady anchor as he slowly, carefully got back to his feet.
It can happen to anyone, she said kindly. It felt good to do something concrete, to fix a small problem. The man watched her. He saw not just a kind act, but the quiet dignity with which she performed it.
Let me help you carry these, she insisted, cradling the groceries in her arms, and the man did not argue.
He led her out of the park towards a row of elegant, historic brownstones. They stopped in front of an especially impressive house. She stepped inside. Her breath caught. The interior surpassed the exterior. A quiet testament to culture and success. The old man led her to a cozy, sunlit study. This glimpse into another world reminded her what she was fighting for. He didn't ask her about her life. Elena found herself completely captivated, asking a question that revealed the sharp, inquisitive mind she had worked so hard to cultivate.
Father? I came as soon as I got your message. Are you all right? Just as they were finishing their tea, the front door opened again. My name is Daniel Harrison. It's a pleasure to meet you, Elena. Daniel's gaze softened. He extended his hand.
And when she took it, a jolt of unexpected electricity passed between them.
Daniel, this is the kind of person you should have at your company. Someone with character and integrity. His father then said something that completely stunned her.
My father is rarely wrong about people. I run a business development firm downtown. I'm always looking for bright, motivated individuals. Would you be interested in a position? It felt like a dream. After the darkest night of her life, the sun was finally, impossibly, beginning to rise. Daniel, you don't have to decide now. Here is my card. Come by my office on Monday morning. We can talk more then. A job. Not just any job, but a position in a corporate firm. The absurdity and wonder of it were overwhelming.
Elena, I will be there. CEO. The title sent another shockwave through her. This was it. The chance she had been praying for.
As she walked home, the city looked different. But alongside the soaring hope, a small seed of doubt began to sprout. Could she really do this? The lobby of Harrison Development was a universe away from the diner. Elena stood in the center, feeling like a small, fragile boat. She was assigned a small, neat cubicle. She was determined to succeed, to prove that Daniel's faith in her was not misplaced. However, she quickly learned that her unusual hiring story had not gone unnoticed. Whispers followed her down the hallway like a shadow.
Mark. Daniel hired her himself. Chloe. No experience. Used to be a waitress. It was a subtle, insidious kind of bullying designed to make her feel incompetent and unwelcome.
The fear of making a mistake, of proving her doubters right, was a constant weight. She had tried so hard, and she had still failed. Instead of giving up, she let the shame and frustration fuel her resolve. She would come home from a long, draining day at the office only to begin her second shift.
Daniel, how are you settling in, Elena? Elena, I'm doing fine, learning a lot. She couldn't bring herself to tell him about the whispers. She wanted to prove she could handle it on her own.
Her struggles did not go entirely unnoticed. He made it clear that she had his full confidence. With Daniel's unwavering support, Elena began to flourish. She was starting to thrive. Their late-night work sessions became more frequent. A deep bond of trust was forming.
Daniel, you've come a long way, Elena. One rainy evening, they were the last two left in the office.
The space between them crackled with an unspoken energy. It was no longer just about trust. It was the delicate, tentative beginning of romance. Elena's life had found a beautiful, steady rhythm. Her relationship with Daniel had blossomed into a deep and meaningful romance. Daniel, trusting Elena's sharp mind, put her in charge of the initial due diligence. It was a massive vote of confidence. As she worked her way through the portfolio, one name jumped out at her. Grayson. The name was like a ghost, It had to be a coincidence, but she couldn't shake the feeling of dread. And then she saw it. The name of the man who had fired her, humiliated her, and left her broken in the rain. The truth she uncovered was far worse. This meant that Daniel's company, her company, had been indirectly profiting from the very establishment where she had suffered so much. The realization was a profound betrayal. It tainted everything. The trust she had placed in him began to crumble into dust. The next day, Elena walked into the office feeling like a ghost. Every smile he gave her, every kind word, now felt like a carefully crafted lie. Meanwhile, Mr. Grayson saw his opportunity. He decided to strike first, to destroy her credibility before she could destroy him. He began to weave a web of lies. The poison spread quickly. The lies reached Daniel's ears not as gossip, but as a formal concern. For the first time, a seed of doubt was planted in Daniel's mind.
Elena, is there anything in your past with Mr. Grayson that might be affecting your analysis of this deal? The question, though professionally phrased, was a confirmation of her worst fears. He didn't trust her.
She was utterly alone. This time, she wasn't just losing a job, she was losing the man she loved.
Is this it? Is this where I break? For a few days, Elena was paralyzed by despair. She considered walking away from it all.
But as she stood there, something shifted inside her. A new resolve hardened within her, forged in the fire of betrayal and pain. Letting them win was not an option. She would not be a victim. The storm within her had not broken her. It had made her stronger. She was going back, not to survive, but to fight. Elena returned to the office the next morning a different woman. She was a hunter. Her prey was the truth. She was not just an analyst, she was a forensic investigator. She knew that somewhere in this labyrinth of paper, Grayson had left a trail. Then she noticed a recurring name. This was the loose thread she needed. The first real crack in Grayson's facade. The company did not exist. But Grayson made one critical mistake. The paper trail was complete.
Sarah, I need you to listen as someone who cares about the integrity of this company. She needed someone on the inside, someone with seniority and influence who was beyond reproach.
She listened in complete silence as Elena walked her through the entire sordid affair. It was a clear, undeniable narrative of systematic fraud.
I knew there was something rotten about that deal. Grayson has always been a snake. You've done incredible work, Elena. In that moment, Elena knew she had found her ally. We're not taking this to the board, we're taking this to the entire company. They would orchestrate a moment of public reckoning. This would be their stage.
On the morning of the town hall, tension filled the air. Mr. Grayson was completely oblivious that he had walked into a perfectly laid trap.
Integrity isn't just a word. It is the bedrock of our success. It requires us to always follow the truth, no matter where it leads.
With each click, the story unfolded. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder, turning into shocked gasps.
This is the result of that stolen money. Money that should have gone to give hardworking employees a living wage.
Elena stood tall at the podium, her journey from humiliation to hero complete. He had doubted her. He had looked at the woman he loved and seen a potential liability instead of the warrior she truly was.
You did it! You were magnificent!
Later that evening, Elena received a simple text from Daniel. She had to decide if their personal one was also worth fighting for.
Daniel, Elena. There are no words to say how sorry I am. I listened to whispers when I should have only listened to my heart. He wasn't trying to win her back with grand gestures, but with the simple, humble power of the truth.
Elena, I was so hurt, Daniel. The one person I thought was my anchor was the one who made me feel adrift. But I also saw you today, and I know your heart. Forgiveness, she realized, was not a sign of weakness, but another form of strength.
A radiant smile broke through Daniel's tears.
Daniel, you are the strongest, most inspiring, most incredible person I have ever known. Will you marry me, Elena? Yes, it was a language beyond words, the language of forever.
Their wedding was not a quiet affair. It was a grand celebration. a symphony of joy that echoed their tumultuous and triumphant journey. It was a story of love that overcame betrayal, doubt, and the ghosts of the past. The night was a tapestry woven from threads of pure joy. Each burst of light felt like a celebration of her victory.
Mr. Harrison, I never had any doubt, my dear. Character is a currency that never loses its value. She had no more room in her life for negativity. Her world was now filled only with light.
The weight of her new life was heavy, but Elena's shoulders were strong. They had been forged in hardship.
Daughter Mommy, were you always a queen in a castle? Elena. No, my love. Once upon a time, Mommy was just a girl with a dream. Her life was a symphony now, composed of many movements.
It was about the journey itself, the falls, the climbs, the battles won, and the lessons learned. It was about becoming the hero of your own story. She had turned her tears into triumph, her pain into power. And in the quiet of the night, she knew her incredible journey was just the beginning.